Shillular is back at it again with how Blizzard destroyed his expectations. Patch 10.15 is insane. Insanely underwhelming, like 0.1. As you can see here, I already wrote a few things. How, sarcastic about destroying expectations in the worst way possible. And, okay. Let's just get into it. Let's see what he has to say. Maybe I'll agree with him on something. So far, the 1 minute that I watched, not so much. Let's watch this.
Where the hell do I even begin with this? Dragon riding in Kalimdor on old...
Okay, dude. This is probably the biggest, I don't know, like a fucking 5-second video. I already gotta pause it. Bro. Dragon riding in Kalimdor, in any zone outside of Dragonflight, has been possible since launch. To say that this is a patch content is fucking dumb. This was purposefully held back. Everybody knew you'll be able to do this at some point, because Drakthir could already do this at launch. So the technology was already there. They didn't really need to implement anything. They could have released this at launch without any problems. But they chose not to in order for them to put content at a later patch. Fuck right off.
Mounts, the new support spec that is coming to World of Warcraft.
The way I see the new support spec, honestly, is that they just didn't have enough time to release a fully functional Drakthir 3 spec, so they released the 2 that were ready while they were working on the 3rd. Sure. Whatever. This is just literally the way I see Blizzard at this point. They purposefully didn't release it, or because they didn't have enough time to finish it, but, wow, who cares? 3rd spec. Yay. If they released a 3rd spec for Demon Hunter, I'd be like, oh shit. Oh shit. Now we're talking. Because that was, first of all, unexpected. And second of all, is like, why would this even be a thing? But Drakthir is the class for this expansion. It even get a legendary, I believe. It's like, they just didn't have enough time to release 3 specs, and they made it into like something in the story to maybe make it make sense. Whatever. I'm not impressed. It's a good thing that they added it, but it's like it's about the same way I feel about the Paladin, the Red Paladin changes. It's like they just didn't have enough time to do this on release, and now they're catching up to what they plan to do.
Go down with Iridicron and Galakrond, perhaps.
Bro, if Galakrond is even a thing, dude, I need to stop pausing. If Galakrond even is a thing, you make absolutely 0 sense in your lore. Like, nothing in this lore would make sense at that point.
Season 2 just launched, and Blizzard has already announced...
As much as it already barely makes sense, if you really think about it, if Galakrond is becoming a thing, whether it be by like someone absorbing his essence or actually resurrecting him, all of these would be completely bullshit. There's absolutely no way. And if you're interested to know why, ask me in the comments below. I will go into detail why Galakrond cannot be a thing at this point in time.
The next patch, 10.1.5...
Or more like, in the comments, tell me why you think it can be, and I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Happening. And when I say that there is an obscene amount in this content patch, I am not exaggerating. There's so much to get through, I can't even talk about the meta stuff, because there is so much content. So let's have a chat about that. And if you want to support what we're doing, get some really dope loot. Our loot has been awesome so far this year. You can hit up the Patreon, where we've also got the likes of...
I'm trying to understand, where would people put all of this shit? Not like disrespect Bella. I think it's great that he has a Patreon, that people actually get something out of it, and not just like, oh, I can see a video 3 days earlier, right? I feel like this is great, but like, where the fuck do people put all these pins, all of these like books and shit? Like, What do people do with this?
Awesome. So far this year, you can hit up the Patreon, where we've also got the likes of early access content, behind the scenes content from me.
I understand
Full
shirts.
big old episode
Like, you know
of
where
the
to
Lore
put
Walking
shirts.
podcast about
You know?
Neltharion, which I think is a very, very timely thing. So that's just over an hour. There's a bunch of content on the Patreon. It is the one way to support what we are doing. And yeah, we all appreciate it humongously, as I can. Company party was last night, and yeah, it was, you know, pretty sweet what we've been able to build together, so thank you, and the links are down below. So the patch is called Fractures in Time, and it seems to be a major continuation of the story, not just a side patch. We're not sure on the details.
Well, the side patch was 10.1, so hopefully there's a continuation to the story at some point.
Yet, but putting some puzzle pieces together from like Dungeon Journal, some quest stuff, we basically know this. The Infinites come across from a timeline where they reign supreme, finally making their way into ours, called the True Timeline in the journal. And they strike a bargain with Iridikron. His goal seems to be using the remains of Galakrond to create more primal dragons, or something along those lines. Most of it, though, does look to be about Nosdormu, Morizond, Chromie, and her infinite Dragonflight counterpart.
Oh wow, but ever since BFA it's been meh. It's still meh. Yeah, I agree with you. Legion was, like, in my opinion, peak, and they really fucked it up. Legion could have been literally like 2 or 3 expansions worth. We went to a different fucking planet and we only had 3 zones. Motherfucker went to a different planet. Give me like as many zones as we have on like fucking Azeroth. That's what like an expansion on a different planet would be.
There's also a ton of data mining of old characters, so we are going to be doing a crazy amount of time traveling in this patch with the dungeon and the related quests. Long dead characters, old...
Oh my god, bro. It's like, I can already tell you right now, if we're doing a lot of time traveling, the story probably, like 99% sure, will not make any fucking sense. Anytime you bring time travel into shit, you're fucking it up completely. When they brought N'Zoth into the I know you thing, and it's like, oh, well, now N'Zoth knows he's gonna die in BFA. Guess what? That N'Zoth is no longer a part of our timeline. Why? Because he knows he's gonna die in BFA. Like, it doesn't make sense. You're literally, every time someone goes back in time, if they return to their own timeline, whatever they did in the past is another branch of a timeline. It doesn't matter if nothing changed. Because in the original timeline, you were not there. That's the whole fucking point. That's the whole fucking problem with this. You were never there. So you being there changes and branches out that timeline, even if you did nothing there.
Old favorites, basically you name it, they appear. So that's pretty sweet. This may be the most exciting one. According to the updated roadmap, dragon riding is coming to Kalimdor along with a massive number of races across the continent.
Wow.
Better yet, according to some data mining, Blizzard are in the process of updating over 100 dragon mounts to a new mount type, adding new dragon riding animations to them, and adding new textures for what seems to be a button to switch them between normal flying mode and dragon riding, which all
That's
points
fine.
to
That's
using
good.
these mounts to dragon ride and fly in the old world. So this is...
That is pretty good. I think everyone was hoping for this. I think this is a good delivery. I think this is great. I personally don't care about this because it's dragon riding. I mean, I was tired of it after like a week of doing it. So if you're enjoying it, that's cool. They need to make better fucking races though. The races are a fucking joke. And also, dragon riding is way too fucking easy.
Excellent. It is definitely something that we didn't expect to see this soon. And I mean, hey, imagine leveling up in U-Tune and that. You certainly would get around pretty damn quick.
Yep.
Okay. Remember this video that we
Great
did?
for leveling.
Yeah, turns out all of those hints were real, and Evoker is getting its support spec called Augmentation. It's a DPS that gives stats to its allies, gives extra crit to allies of their choice, extends those buffs via their DPS rotation, and can even swap locations with other players. They have a 2-minute cooldown that lets a healer cast while moving, an ability that does extra damage based on other players' damage, a way to boost tank armor, reduce threat, and grant passive health or move speed. Basically, they're a full support DPS.
Basically, you just reserved a raid spot for one spec. Basically. Because the spec helps everybody. So basically what you did is you alienated... It's like you have to raid with certain specs in your raid team. All you're doing by adding this one is you're just removing another spot. So before it was like, I believe like 13 specs were mandatory in a raid. Now you're going to have 14. You just made it less possible to raid whatever you want to raid. Good job. It might be fun. I don't care. But I'm just saying, it's not going to be balanced. Like, you're going to need this fucking asshole in your raid.
This is crazy stuff, and it's testable on PTR, so yes, we are going to have an impressions video pretty soon. It even looks like, based on some press kit images, that the Adamanthea...
I can't wait until they literally get like 20 specs that are mandatory for raid. It's like, well, listen, we are missing this exact spec. And until something gets substantially better, these are the 20 specs every raid is running. I'm talking about like Mythic Prog. I'm not talking about like Heroic and Normal. You can do whatever you want in those joke tiers. But like in Mythic, yeah.
We'll be here for them. So basically what we suggested in that video is panning out. This is pretty incredible stuff. This is a profound change for how the game may look in a few years with this new experiment of a new type of spec to play. Also, one of their spell icons,
good luck balancing
Spoils, who is going to be the Black Dragon aspect.
Now you do realize that essentially this means that there's like 39 classes in the game right now. Good luck balancing it out. They couldn't balance 38. Good luck balancing 39. Yeah, whatever. It's fine.
I'll leave that out for now. The major content of this patch is the dawn of the Infinite Mega Dungeon, right? Basically, it shows us how they got started and why Chromie and her evil version are here. Iridikron is going to be going back in time to do something spooky with Galakron's corpse. The final boss from the new Uldaman is going to make a return, which is pretty cool. And we get to see some really classic Warcraft orcs and human stuff go down. There are very interesting bosses, so minor spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Infinite Tyr. The timeline goes extremely wrong. Tyr joins the Infinite and we have to take him down. Also for Iridikron, it doesn't look like we're going to be killing him, if that's what you're worried about. He's the one instigating.
Why would we be worried about that?
Really, the fight is just to kind of get rid of him for now and solve the immediate problem. Grom is a boss as part of a time-lost battlefield. I don't know, will we get a HD Gorehell? The final boss is Chrono Lord Deos, and based on the abilities, we're going to be fighting him way back in the past, and we'll be joined by the aspects before they were aspects. This dungeon looks like it's just going to be going so unbelievably hard based on everything we can see from PTR that it is super exciting. Mage rework. Mages are getting some love.
Remember when people were saying like, hey, they could mouse the condom to man ratio to brothel, let alone the game. Cranky, you kill me, bro. You kill me, Cranky. They couldn't balance the condom to man ratio to brothel. Oh my god, bro. Fuck, what was I saying? Yeah, you remember how people were complaining that's like, hey, WoW doesn't have new villains that like are interesting and shit. Yeah, well then let's just keep using the old fucking villains. Why not? Bro, we like, and again with Hellscream, again. Just leave well enough alone, man.
Rune of Power is gone. Meteor is gone. If you're upset about Rune of Power, that's fair. But they said it was just giving too many mages a awful time because of forced movement taking away so much of their damage. They're going to shift all that power into their main cooldowns. So a big change, but it's one they're confident in. They're also changing the capstone talents. They're adding some new ones, including a ice block option that doesn't immune you. It just basically, it gives a massive DR, but you can cast during it. So that's kind of cool. Another one is a group-wide cast of invisibility or barrier. That's kind of neat. Arcane is getting a nice wave of changes, adding consistent AoE damage, giving them a few more talent points to play with.
Basically, you're saying they don't know what to do with the classes anymore.
Fire and Frost are not changed yet, but they do have plans there.
Oh,
Fire
God.
is going to get talent rework to ensure they actually have build options that kind of like separate their AoE from being pure Ignite focused. Frost then is getting stuff like Glacial Spike and Ray of Frost fixed, theoretically, while fixing the insane, almost no Ice Lance builds that people are running. So that's kind of crazy. It's not all though. Holy Paladins, you also get a car. Holy Paladins are getting some
because
attention.
I heard that Holy Paladin, I am not sure about this, but people said Holy Paladin is in a very bad state after the Red Paladin changes. I'm assuming it's something that has to do with the talents. I don't know.
Their mana issues are sort of being solved.
Oh, mana issues,
just getting a lot of changes to make their Judgment and Shield of the Righteous feel like parts of their healing kit and not afterthoughts, actually making multiple builds viable and fixing issues.
Shield of the Righteous on a Paladin. On a Holy, interesting.
Get resources to heal with.
Never used it. Never saw a reason.
They've got crazy stuff like 2 charges of Holy Shock, a new ability to proc existing glimmers to deal damage, heal and regen mana, a cooldown that grants instant Holy Lights, and a whole bunch more. I mean, it seems like it needs more work, but they have a lot of abilities for their
nothing sounds very new right now.
Genuinely real fun. That's not all though. Have you ever wanted to raise a dragon? Well,
I wanna know what builder does not find fun in WoW. It's like he literally says like this genuinely sounds fun. This genuinely sounds fun. What do you not find fun in WoW? You know, because like it's like he's in shill mode, right? Everything in WoW is so fucking great. I can't wait till he does this the statistics video about raid and Mythic Plus participation in 10.1. Oh my god. Oh, I'm already getting a boner just thinking about it. It's gonna be great.
Well, now's your time, because with all the dragon eggs that are about, the cares are overwhelmed, and you have been enlisted to help. There's a new whelp daycare chain, in which you will basically do dailies. You'll raise up a whelp from each of the 5 flights, learning about each of them in the process, so seems like a cute little thing. That's, of course, not all, though, because we have a new type of world content coming called Time Rifts. Not up for testing, but data mining has basically sort of turned up what can be only described as a mountain of mounts. 7 of them, various timeline versions of existing mounts that are available for a new currency. It seems like this
currencies, yay!
But all about enemies from other timelines needing to be fought off, and there are some pretty cool ones planned. Basically, it's different versions of Azeroth, so a Black Empire one, a Demon Azeroth, a Robot Azeroth, a Scourge Azeroth, a Titan Azeroth, all with very enjoyable, fitting names, just kind of bleeding over into our realm, and we gotta fight him off. Also, remember that update to Zul'Gurub that filled it out with some removed transmogs
I don't.
to make and sell? Well, it looks like Naxxramas is going to be getting that treatment this patch, with a ton of patterns data mined and even a new mount being available. And based on the data mining, it seems like we're going way back, because there's a new corrupted Ashbringer quest item in PTR. Oh, wow, I mean...
Bro, like... Come up with new shit, bro. Holy fuck, just come up with new stuff. Stop trying to get people to play your game for nostalgia reasons. I know it worked for Classic to an extent, but holy fuck, man. Can you advance the fucking game already? Stop going back in time to like, oh, well, we need to bring more players back. What did people like? Oh, they like the Ashbringer. Oh, let's do something with the Ashbringer. What else do people like? They like Arthas. So let's put him in the new mega dungeon. What else did they like? Oh, they like that orc dude from Draenor. Oh, you mean Hellscream? Yeah, let's put him into... Bro, like, just fucking make your own fucking villains that are interesting. Holy fuck, man.
That's one of the, like, most, I don't know, notable, like, crazy old items in WoW's history that barely anyone has. That's cool. So, yeah.
It's like, finish a story. It's cool if you have references to a story, but finish a goddamn story and make more stories. That's your only job. That's it. That's all you gotta do.
Next thing here, there's also some data mined Scholarmant stuff, though. So maybe we'll sort of know what's going to be coming next.
Never realized there was a spider under that house. Oh, that thing? Yeah.
Next then. Okay.
Under Naxxramas.
I just want to do a quick fire round of awesome things that are a bit minor. So, Chromie Time is getting a facelift. So now Chromie will teach players how it works. The expansion restrictions are removed. She suggests things to do, and she shows you the opening cinematic for each expansion to set the scene. So that helps fix up some of the new player experience. That'll be good for the game's longevity.
No, it doesn't. You know what would make it a good player experience? Streamline the fucking campaign from Classic, honestly, from TBC. Classic really didn't do anything for the game in terms of like story. Like, it just confused more people. Streamline the game from TBC all the way through Shadowlands. Make it like main quests. This is what you gotta do. And when you finish this whole story, you get to Dragonflight at level 50 and just streamline that shit. It's all you gotta do. Main quests that have to do with the story of that expansion. Have a, what's it called? Like an AI filled, like a you and a bunch of NPCs going into and fighting Illidan, just Illidan, not the whole raid. And then you move on to Wrath of the Lich King, do the stuff, maybe have an Ulduar, then you have an ICC, then go on to Cataclysm, blah, 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 blah. And all of this should happen in your journey to level 50. And have and fight with bots or whatever. Or like you can make a party and fill the rest of the party with, with bots, whatever. Like, holy fuck, man. Just revamp the whole leveling experience, because no matter what you do right now, if people can choose, if I'm a new player and I can choose which expansion to go to in order to level up, nothing makes sense regardless.
Longevity, so that's nice to see. Also, when Halloween rolls around, we are going to have an updated Headless Horseman.
Wow.
Yeah, took a while, but that's pretty nice.
Wow.
Next, Allied Race
updated from 0.1% drop chance to 2% drop chance. Wow, it's an update. Just give it 100% and that's it, man. Holy fuck, who cares?
So if you have one character at 40, you can just make them right away. And also, every race in the game can now be Warlocks, including Lightforged and Maghar. They are getting new customizations, and soon they'll be able to change their pets in a barbershop, kind of like what druids can do with their forms. And this isn't just a cosmetic thing. There are lore and quests that set this up, and I don't think it's in like today's video, but like a bit before I recorded this, Matt texted me, texted our team chat, was just like, this Warlock quest owns. So whatever the Warlock quest is, apparently it's brilliant.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, that's.
Are we talking about standard for WoW or standard for like any other fucking game that has quests in it?
Really nice. Good Warlock news. Also, good news for the financially challenged Altaholics.
Like, what standard are we using?
Is going away with skills automatically being learned at the appropriate level instead of you having to go out and buy it. And for people with good taste, Worgen are getting new fur patterns and scars, which look pretty gnarly. You can go for like a full kind of like war-ravaged veteran look. You can also track transmogs that you don't have. If it comes from a vendor, a dungeon, or a raid, shift-clicking on it will actually track the transmog piece as if it's tracking a quest objective.
Okay, that's fine. That's a good addition.
If you want 2 bag spaces back, you're in luck, because the Dalaran and Garrison Hearthstones are becoming toys. Now, this is good news. Especially for those of us who maybe have loads of alts and you don't want to go and unlock those. Them being toys just means that they're not items that exist in your bag, but like you can still keep buying them and use them normally. And speaking of Hearthstone toys, there is one called Path of the Naru that is tagged as TBD. So maybe all of this time stuff.
Wait, what? Oh, these are the Hearthstone from the collector's edition or whatever. Okay, I get it.
You know,
I never used them.
Light, narrow.
I just use like the winter,
will be very excited for.
Like the Christmas Hearthstone.
There's an absolutely gorgeous new spell glow effect. It's not quite done, as you can see, but it's a pretty insane visual upgrade to something you see all the time.
Trying to see what the difference is.
Just healthy, continuous improvement. Not least, Haru and Hoofs in the future.
I don't see the difference.
Last and almost certainly not least, there is an absolutely gorgeous new spell glow effect. It's not quite done, as you can see, but it's a pretty insane visual upgrade to something you see all the time. And this really is just the
I really don't see the difference.
Just healthy,
what am I missing?
Improvement we want in the game.
I don't see a difference.
To kind of outro things, this is fucking ridiculous. to have dropped right after Season 2. Like, we're getting a brand new spec, a new type of gameplay in the middle of a season. This is a World of Warcraft that I never imagined, right? I'm almost struggling for words at how this is an insane comeback. Again...
Is it? I don't think so. You still don't have as much content as you had, like, throughout other expansions. Like, you straight up don't. It's like... having content cadence is not... it's a feel-good thing, but if almost all of that content could have been out there on release and they just delayed it for the purpose of having it on the content cadence, that is not a good fucking, like, way to do things. We all know dragon riding was possible on release. Why do you need to wait for basically a year? I don't know how long it's been, half a year-ish, like, for it to be a thing. Like, why? That makes no sense. Revamping all dungeons into Mythic Plus is a cool thing in theory, but in practicality, it's 4 dungeons you already had. So it's, again, less work. It's... like, I would honestly rather have them have keys, like the Mythic Plus keys, that would just go into a random dungeon. A Mythic Plus 12, and you do not know what dungeon it is. Just a random Mythic Plus 12. And it's just a selection out of, like, literally dungeons from Mop all the way to Dragonflight. Just one of them. Fuck it. I would much rather have that. But I can see how this would be a very problematic thing for many newer players. Sure. But it's like having 4 new dungeons for all dungeons doesn't feel that good to me. Like, after the first run of Nostalgia, it was kind of shitty. Like, it's like, I did Court of Stars, and on the second round, I'm like, man, I'm sick of Court of Stars. Why? Because I ran over 1,000 times during Legion. I don't want to do another fucking Court of Stars. Fuck off.
Again, this time last year, or 2 years ago, we were in Korthia, people. Korthia.
Again, I hate it that people are comparing to Shadowlands, which, by the way, Korthia had more content than that new zone. Just saying. Or more like, it's very similar content to the new zone that they have in Dragonflight. Right? I can't say for sure which one has more, but it's a very similar. It's a rare grind, maybe some secrets on the floor, whatever. Like, it's a joke. Okay, it's like, it doesn't mean shit. Okay, the whole new zone is garbage. Right? It's another Korthia. Like, it just looks, I guess, looks better than what Korthia looked like. Right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Legion was released with substantial... Legion was released, and again, I also don't like making this comparison, because in my opinion, Legion and MOP were probably peak content overall for WoW ever, in terms of what to do in endgame. In my opinion, Legion had more because it introduced World Quests and Mythic Plus, which was completely brand new, and it was such replayable content, such very long-term replayable content with dungeons that were very, very well designed for Mythic Plus. Unlike the dungeons that we've gotten, half of BFA were garbage for Mythic Plus. Most of Shadowlands was garbage for Mythic Plus. Most of Dragonflight is garbage for Mythic Plus, right? Legion, most of the dungeons up until Court of Eternal Nights came out were fantastic Mythic Plus dungeons. Pretty much each and every one. Some better than others, yeah, but each and every one were great. So it's like, and you had 4 leveling zones. You had 4 leveling zones when Legion came out. You have 4 leveling zones in Dragonflight. However, you also had Suramar, which was an endgame zone with its own quests, its own dailies, and you had that scenario with those, what do you call them? The addicts, the mana addicts. You had that as well. And this is Legion 0.0. So 10.1 is just now Sorry, 10.0.7 just caught up to 7.0. Barely. And when did we get Chromie time, like the Chromie time scenario, which was a highly replayable thing as well, unless you were really good at it. You know, you don't have that, right? So yeah, in my opinion, Legion had substantially more content than Dragonflight, like substantially more.
And there was no content, and we were in friggin' Gorthia. How it is so different now, right? It's
no,
mad.
It's not.
It's absolutely insane.
No, it really isn't.
We know that a few weeks after this patch comes out,
I'm not sure if his glasses are rose tinted, like, you know, pinkish, or it's just his face from blood. I'm not sure.
It'll be
but very, very rose tinted view on WoW right now.
WoW is kind of back, right? Like, this content cadence is mad. There's so much to do. I feel like I am getting so much more value for myself.
Oh, by the way, let's not forget, Legion also had those, if we're gonna talk about like the random small things, you had that like raise your own Velociraptor or whatever that turns into a mount, and you can get like 4 or 5 of them for each zone or some shit like that. Yeah, we had that. Not a fucking currency grind, actually like quest that like kind of like, you know, you grow this dragon, which is, I'm assuming, is kind of gonna be similar to this whole like whelp thing. So it's like, yeah, no, Dragonflight still doesn't have as much content as Legion, and Legion had its issues. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't like the perfect expansion, had its issues, but it was by far one of the most well-received expansions in a very long time.
Subscription fee.
With objectively more shit to do.
This is just incredible. Okay, take care, and I'll see you next time.
Like, yeah, no. And again, if we consider like Legion to be a good expansion, because it's not excellent, there were issues with the legendary powers and the AP grind. There were issues, yeah. Let's not say that Legion was the perfect expansion. It was a good expansion. Dragonflight is the most neutral expansion that they've ever had. BFA and Shadowlands, I would say BFA is pretty close to neutral. It's not horrible. I think there were issues of accessibility to systems. If they fix that, there would be no issues with BFA, in my opinion. Shadowlands was fucking dog shit. Like, we all know that Shadowlands was dog shit, right? But it's like, you brought Dragonflight after Shadowlands. Shadowlands like minus 100. Dragonflight is like maybe a minus 10 to a 0. Like, it's pretty neutral. It's not amazing. And let's say BFA was like minus 25, minus 30, right, on the score. Let's say from minus 100 to 100. Let's say Legion was about a 50. MOP was probably like 50 to 70. Okay? Like, it's not even close. Just because you're comparing it to like the previous expansion, which was literal fucking dog doo-doo that you stepped on and then you licked for some reason. Dragonflight is just like, it's such a good expansion, no one is playing it. That's the best thing you can say about Dragonflight. It is such a good expansion that no one is playing. There's really nothing interesting about Dragonflight. The story is meh. The content is meh. It's like, what am I paying a sub for? Well, I'm not since WoD, but like, what would I be paying a sub for if I played it? Pretty much nothing. Yeah. Well, as I thought, I mean, I agreed with Bella on like 1 or 2 things, but like, as I thought, I am not gonna... It's like, a lot of things here are definitely not that great. Oh, man. He should change his name to Shillular. I can't wait till, like, you know, the numbers come in, till he sees the raid participation, all that shit. And, like, having his disappointed videos, like, I don't understand why people don't play it. This is such a good expansion. Bellar, have you done any high-end content recently? No, man, I'm just doing my +8s and heroic raiding-ish. Normal raid to maybe AOTC, but not really. Unless, like, the end of the patch. Like, bro. It's like, play the actual fucking game, okay? And tell me that it's in a good state. High-end players are not happy. Low-end players are bored. The ones who can log in for like an hour or 2 hours, maybe they're happy. Maybe. Oh my god, man. Or the ones who are like really like Mythic Plus, maybe they're really happy. I don't know. I feel like most of the dungeons that came out right now are fucking dog shit. Specifically the Dragonflight ones, and like 1 or 2 of the old ones are not great in my opinion. Anyways, that's the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Am I just a doomer boomer, or do I make sense? I don't know. You tell me. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.